Happy Halloween.
Before we begin this video, one perk was a bit misunderstood by me, and it probably could use a bit of a bump up, but it would require a bit of testing from me. But based on my personal opinion, I'm still going to keep it where I put it in this video until I test it out further and see how inconsistent it truly is. But I misread the perk, and I didn't use the perk that much either, so I'm very foggy on what it does. And because of that, to me in my mind, it's already a low tier perk, and I put it in D tier. And I after the video was done, we changed it later. But the big thing was I did misunderstand the perk, so when I read it off wrong. It's you reveal the aura of a survivor within 48 meters, and it can happen during chase, so it's good for mind games in enclosures and behind walls. But other than that, to me, still not a very good perk, but probably not as low as I put it. Don't forget, this is my opinion, and the position of these perks is not as accurate as I wanted it to be in terms of placement, because in Survivors perk list, you run them on all survivors, but with this one, some had better uses on other killers. So basically, this is just a list of killer perks that I like, and then someone brought up a good idea to do individual killer perk tier lists where we review what perks are best for what killers. And so we'll likely see that series come along after this, which will make this null and void. But still, if you want to check this tier list out for just general useful killer perks, that'd be a good idea, and then we'll come out with those later. And if you want to alter this tier list for your own sake, follow the link in the description to Tier Maker and enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome to this amazing tier list of Dead by Daylight's killer perks. Today we're going to be reviewing each perk of all the killers, total of 63 from patch 3.2.2, which means if you're looking at this in the future, it's likely that there could be changes, but this is up to date as of the making of. Hopefully the tier maker allows me to make adjustments. I don't know if they allow me to add in killer perks easily, but we'll see in the future. So S being the best, D being the worst, we're going to base these perks off of their overall usefulness towards not only killing survivors, but actually assisting in getting your pips. And that's very important that we do it in this one, because the value of perks can change drastically if you have different purposes for each perk. Meme builds and all that kind of stuff. Certain perks are better than others in terms of ending a chase, tracking, controlling, those are all important, but there are some perks that protect your pips and emblems more than others, and that's the win condition of the game, and that's exactly what you should be doing. So just having perks like no one escapes death is likely not going to be high, because you've likely screwed your own Lightbringer or Gatekeeper perk. But we'll start from top to bottom. It's an alphabetical order. If you need to skip through this video at any point to just find a perk, just go alphabetically until you see it pop up on the list. The last video was an hour and a half, a little over. I'm going to try to keep this as low as possible, but of course this talk's already taken up time. I'm accompanied by Twitch chat today, so they will be talking to me throughout, so if I start spewing nonsense in between, it's their fault, blame them. I tell them to say hi, but not really ever going to reach you if they do, so true damn shame. Okay, to start us off, we have Nurse's Calling. It's called a Nurse's Calling, which is actually listed above Agitation. So a Nurse's Calling, confusingly, I would keep it between A and S. I'm going to mark it as S for now. I'm only going to allow about 6 to be an S. But Nurse's Calling has been a staple since the nurse has come out, and it is one of the better aggressive tracking perks in the game. When survivors and survive with friends try to get around you and give you a rough time healing in front of you, this really helps track them out, especially for lower terror radius killers. So another thing I should have mentioned is that placement in this list will matter. If it only works for a couple of killers, it's obviously going to rate lower than what you would think. As an example, Modern Abuse doesn't work for every killer, so it'll rank lower, but Nurse's Calling does work for every killer, in their own way, but it also just gains a benefit from low terror radius killers, and some people are just really cocky and get done in. So Nurse's Calling is definitely very powerful, but we'll talk more about why I'm borderline between it being up there. Agitation. There was a point in time in Dead by Daylight's history where Agitation was like a required perk. It was top tier. It was something you had to have. And now it's something you really don't ever need. It has some uses and it's not completely useless. So C, but this is definitely a perk you'll never see in a build, ever. Not a serious one, not a rank 1 one. If you do it, they don't have anything else, or it's a meme. But this is not a serious perk to take in to win with. It doesn't really help you that much. Bamboozle. So I kind of have a bias with Bamboozle. It's one of my favorite perks. Comes from my second favorite killer clown. It's a really good perk. It's a perk that shuts down infinites from balanced landing into window vaults. It cancels out some of the largest loops. It allows for some interesting gameplay, and for that, I believe it to be an S tier perk. A lot of people do not like this perk as much as I do. Some people argue it definitely doesn't belong there, but this is a perk that, in Chase, completely cancels out some of the strongest loops in the game, and being that you not only will end a chase faster, cancel out loops, and be able to catch a survivor faster, it's just overall better than most other perks in the game. It's not a tracking perk, but it is a damn good chasing perk. So on to BBQ and Chili. This used to be known as, again, a required must-have perk for every killer that you had to find on the shrine. And in its existence, as of recently, it just ended up on the shrine, in fact, but it was only on the shrine twice in like a year and a half. And it's also hidden behind a licensed killer, which means it was pretty much a pay-to-win perk. But then the locker nerf came in, and now everyone can counter it by getting into a locker. And it went from the most powerful perk to a blood point perk, and it still has its uses, but it's just not as strong. So I'm gonna put that in B for balanced. It's balanced. It's way too easy to counter, but also, even if everyone's countering it, you still get a good amount of blood points, and if you're leveling up, that's a perk you run. Blood points. It's something to have. I'd put it in A, but again, being only a blood point perk, it's a little rough. Alright, on to Beasts of Prey. Now, honestly, I don't know what the developers were thinking when they were crafting this one, but it's absolute trash. There is no use for Beast of Prey, and there is no way to actively use it. Essentially, after you get Bloodlust, your red stain disappears, and it got buffed. It did. It got buffed. It used to be when you entered Bloodlust, your red stain disappears for like 20 seconds or something like that. But now it's until you lose Bloodlust. And that's not much better, because breaking a pellet loses Bloodlust. It does give you more blood points for actions in the Hunter category, but as I've stated before for other perks that give bonus blood points, in-game bonuses don't give you shit. Majority of the time, if you play the game well, you are going to get your blood points maxed out, which means a bonus to your blood points doesn't do anything for you. So, again, trash perk. They tried to make it appealing to new players for additional blood points, but if you pay attention, you won't fall for that trick. Bitter Murmur used to be one of the worst perks in the game. Got reworked into something decent. It's kind of like Dark Sense. It's a decent tracking perk, but it's not as good as Dark Sense. So we're going to put it in C. It's not a great tracking perk because when a generator is repaired, survivors around that generator are revealed. It would be a B or A if it was every survivor was revealed. But nah, it's just not what it needs to be better. Developers need to change it so that it's like Dark Sense, just affects every survivor when a generator's done. Because what other purpose does it serve? Why do I care if a generator's done across the map and I see their auras for 5 seconds? It's not going to do me any good. Next up, we have Bloodhound. There was a point in time where Bloodhound was, again, a very actually prominent perk. Back in the day when scratch marks were broken, and this would be during the dark times, scratch marks legitimately went everywhere when a survivor run, even across the map. Like, you just start seeing random scratch marks appearing. They were so bad, the only viable way to track a survivor was actually their blood. So you ran Sloppy Butcher to make them hemorrhage blood, and then you ran Bloodhound, and that was your scratch marks back in the day. Nowadays, not needed, actually. It does work, but I mean, it's not something you'd use. Probably meme build it up and see. It's not terrible. It's not balanced, though. It needs more effort and work. Next up, Warden. This is a perk that I always knew would be trash, but it has some uses, and yes, some rank 1 people use it. But just because it's used doesn't mean it's effective. Essentially, it only works when a door is all the way open. That means all your generators are done, and this is a last-ditch effort to lock someone in. It got a slight buff with the end game collapse happening, where you could potentially lock people in and they're all dead, but you're not going to really get much use out of it. So again, it's just going to enter the C field, where this is essentially going to be where a lot of the perks land. It's usable, but its value is not going to help you rank up. The value of it's not going to really help you get a kill. It's very niche, and people sometimes just walk out. It's too counterable. When you knock someone down, the door's open, some people just leave. They don't even risk. And if they leave, they screwed you out of it. Brutal Strength. This is a perk that helps with chase. And, like, I love it. I'm super biased about it, because personally, breaking the many pallets out there, super important. But I also have to admit that it just doesn't add to the game as much as it used to, so it's a B tier. It's just balanced. If you got nothing better, it'll break those pallets faster. I believe we can go check the actual time in which it took to break pallets, but it used to be mandatory, again. But with all the changes, I believe people calculated enduring to be more of a time saver if you got stunned. So if you got stunned with Brutal Strength and then broke the pallet, it's actually faster to get stunned with enduring and break the pallet without Brutal Strength than it is to get it done. But let me just say, I love the perk, but that's that. My thing swapped out on me. Uh-oh. Don't do this to me. Alright. Hold on. We got a bit of a kerfuffle here. There we go. Alright, so we got Corrupt Intervention. I was gonna see if there was a timer on the Brutal Strength thing. That was not the case. So Corrupt Intervention. Oh, I'm trying to think where I would want to put this. It's not a C tier. It's D. It's D. You're wasting an entire perk slot to let the game go on for 2 minutes and just have, like... when this perk came out, a lot of people were like, oh, you don't have to patrol as many generators, so it's really good. The problem is, the survivors don't have to get on generators for 2 minutes. It's just slows the game down on your end. And I guess slightly kinda gives you some defense in your gatekeeper, but the problem is, it's a perk that activates immediately. It's a perk that doesn't stop them from working on generators. It doesn't stop them. It just doesn't let them get on 3 certain ones furthest away from you, which makes your loop smaller, but I've typically found it easier to find people out there breaking totems. When this perk came out, I found that people just go search totems, break everything in the area, search a chest, and they just buy time. They don't necessarily rush to your small loop of generators. So I find that it does not work effectively. It does not defend your emblems, and it gets your Hex Ruin completely dicked. So I've seen people run it, and I laugh at them every time because it just takes up a perk slot. Kalra Phobia. Jeez. Probably D tier 2. Kalra Phobia. The problem with this perk is that it does not combo well because it only works in the terror radius. So majority killers that don't have a big terror radius, which is actually a lot of killers, can't even use the perk. And then only if you extend your terror radius is it very viable, but there are perks that may not slow down healing nearly as much as this one does, but this one requires so many other perks to work. You have to force this to work. It's just not worth it. You might as well run Agitation. Cruel Limits. Okay, so Cruel Limits is an interesting one. It's not a very good perk either. It works only for certain killers that could travel really fast. That's Hillbilly. That's it. Or anyone that could teleport to the generator. Wait, no. Yeah, teleport near the generator. That's done. Essentially, it locks out windows and vaults that survivors can take. But, this is a big but, it's only when the generator is completed. So this is to stop survivors from completing a generator in front of you and not really having that many defenses in a, I think it's what, a 30, oh, it's actually only 24 meters from the generator, so it's not even a terror radius worth. So it gives you so little, so I'm gonna slap it over here. It's a situational perk. Once they know you have it, they're not going to pop a gen in front of you. And it doesn't stop pallets either. That's another thing to mention. Every killer perk so far just has so many limitations to it. It just kind of sucks. Like, if this blocked out all, like, windows for 20 seconds at least, like, I'd be happy about that. Like, that would be really cool. I'd run that. All right, next on to Dark Devotion. These perks are just so... Dark Devotion has uses, but again, it's not uses that are gonna help you at all, because you have to... It only works against the Obsession, and so when you basic attack the Obsession, they emit your terror radius, and that's actually really a cool idea, that the person you hit takes your terror radius and you can go stealth kill someone else. Problem. It's got a cooldown, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, for as long as they have it, the terror radius is up, and then, you know, you can hit them again to reactivate it. But it only works on the Obsession. So hitting someone else does not transfer your terror radius to them. So it only works on the Obsession. Only. And since that's so situational, you're not going to really be able to take advantage of it unless you are lucky enough to find the Obsession. And with that, it's kind of like a backwards save the best for last, right? The thing that makes save the best for last so good is that save the best for last requires you to not hit your Obsession, so that's a 1 in 4 chance. Versus this requires you to find the Obsession and that the Obsession is nearby, and you get a 30 seconds terror radius down to 0. But we already have like a killer like Ghostface who could just turn his terror radius off at will for an almost endless amount of time until he finds someone who will break it for him. So I don't see value in the perk. Some people might use it. It's just definitely not a perk I would ever use. Ever. Deerstalker, easy balanced perk. Delicious, delightful perk that you may see here and there to do a slug build. Slugging not as common, but because it does help maintain your malicious and devout perk emblems. I think it's devout. Being able to find a survivor on the ground, especially since the sound is so messed up in the game, Deerstalker can help. I mean, you can always listen out for survivors, but this also helps you track survivors, combos well with Nurse's Calling, see anyone nearby. You know, it really keeps them down, so that's always lovely. So we have Discordance. This is actually a really good perk. We're gonna put, we got our first A perk here. Easy peasy. One of the worst killers in the game right now, Legion, has one of the better perks. This is like the anti-survive with friends perk and also the anti-gen rush. Survivors that work together, this will catch them out, tell you that they're on a generator, and that's the best tool. It's a tracking perk, also good for your totem, your generator defense, and prevents people from rushing you down and taking very key generators. Now, of course, if everyone spreads out and takes 4 generators at once, you know, you're in trouble no matter what, but 2 people hop on one, you suddenly know they're there, you know where to go, you get a good chase started, and it just helps you fine-tune your tracking, so that'll work. Distressing. Oof. Yeah, distressing. I'm gonna put that right below Blood Warden. Distressing is a perk that actually does pretty well on a lot of killers, actually. Having a huge terror radius has unintentional effects of keeping you kind of stealthed. And what I mean by this is that your terror radius, depending on how far you are from the killer, actually gets more intense when they get into certain intervals of being close to you. And because your terror radius extends even further out, you can't tell they're actually approaching you when you're at the edge for a while. And then when you are kind of close, it sounds like it's going off, but it's not really. They're not that close. And so you have to be able to judge how far they are. And I've seen people run Distressing, and it has absolutely messed with my mind on like how far they are, and it can mess with people, but it also doesn't do much else. Blood points, again, worthless category to be in. Dying Light. Ah, man, I feel like every perk's gonna hit C or D at this rate. Dying Light has been changed to be such a waste. It's an absolute waste of a perk. It's like Thanatophobia, but for hooks instead of injured, and doesn't affect one person, and also gives them a 33% bonus. I'm putting it ahead of everything else in C, but it's not a good perk. There are combinations in the game to slow generator progress, healing progress, and all that down. Dying Light got changed to just be a very ineffective perk. For every token you earn, you slow everybody but the Obsession down by 3% on repairs, sabotage, and healing. The problem with this is that Dying Light used to be a nice 25% debuff. And it just... I think it's actually bigger than 25. I can go check out what that is. But anyways, in exchange for not only requiring you to leave the Obsession alive, it doesn't affect the Obsession, but the Obsession also gets a 33% increase to their... Yeah, it was a 25% increase, or decrease of repair, heal, and sabotage. Your Obsession gets a 33% altruistic bonus speed. Unhooking, healing, and they're pretty much untouchable to you, because if you kill them, you lose the perk. It can work, yes, but being that you only get 1 token per hook that is not the Obsession, and you only get 3% off each hook, by the time this perk starts to hit levels that it starts to matter in at like 6 tokens, you've got 1 generator left, and it's not good enough to hold it over. So because of that, it has value, but it's just not good. Enduring. I'm going to put this under Discordance, but Enduring's a solid perk. Grade A allows you to recover very quickly from pallet stuns. It did get nerfed to not affect any survivor stuns such as Flashlight or Decisive Strike, but the perk is still as good as it's always been. I always ran it to prevent people from taking advantage of me getting stunned at pallets. If they incorrectly stun me at a pallet with them on my side and they try to jump over, I still get a hit. It's a good chase perk, good defense, just reduces the amount of time in chase when you get stunned. So that's a beautiful, beautiful perk. Let's see, Fire Up. Each generator complete now, Fire Up got a change. You get 4% for each generator completed. So 4 generators completed, you get a 16% speed boost to everything. Trash. Fire Up has been a joke since its release and continues to be a joke even after its change. Let's see, generators completed at a total of all the generators completed, you would get a 20% speed boost to everything. That's after everything's already done against you. And I don't think that's recovery of attacks either. To picking up, dropping, pallet breaking, generator damaging, and vaulting. I guess the value there is the vaulting. 20% vaulting speed after all generators are completed. That's pretty good. Except that, you know, that's at all generators completed. Now you get a 16% at 4 generators completed, but you could have Bamboozle and just have the effect all game long and close out a window. But of course it does combo with Bamboozle. You know, I'll give it a little more credit than what I am. I'll put it in C. This is not completely useless with that much speed, but you're already losing the game essentially to require this to really get any work out of it. You've probably already broken all the pallets. You've probably already played quite a bit of the game. You don't need this bonus speed when everything is done and they're getting out. You need that bonus speed beforehand, so I don't believe it really helps out, especially since the win condition requires you to prevent them from even completing your generators. Like, I would say it's D, but it does give a hefty bonus. You'll, you know what, never mind. I'm putting it down there. It never sees use. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it, even though it does some decent things. It just doesn't get the job done. Franklin's Demise. Yikes. It does its job. It's the only perk in the game that does its job well. I don't know. Is it possible to turn off the background music? No, because I'm using the background music. Oh. It shouldn't be too loud. Is it too loud? Do you want me to turn it down a little bit? Turn it down a little. Well, I think I made it worse. Oh well, fuck it. Franklin's Demise. It's honestly, it's good for what it does, right? I'm gonna put it in B. Normally I would put it in D, because technically working towards all your emblems, it doesn't do shit. It takes up a slot, and it only works if the survivors have items, which majority of the time they do. But I think it's a balanced perk, because it can do quite a bit. It can cause people to want to protect their items, and the existence of the perk by itself is a mind game. If your entire team is running all toolboxes, you could bet your sweet ass killer's gonna come in with Franklin's Demise, more or less just to make you leave your items behind, not necessarily to win that fight. And that might be the key here, which puts it up in B above everything else. But I acknowledge that the perk is utterly useless in almost every other scenario and does not combo with anything and only works with basic attacks, so I don't think that Franklin's Demise is going to be that great, because what it does is it causes them to drop their item and it damages the item. But what that can do is obviously drop a toolbox, and then they don't have that additional speed. But I guess it helps a little bit. So the next one is Furtive Chase. Let's see, from Ghostface. I should have listed where these were all from, but pull up the wiki. I would say you could do it that way. I have actually never looked at Furtive Chase. When your obsession is hooked, Furtive Chase receives a token. This is the... I have seen this one. Okay, so this is the Chase terror radius is decreased when you hook your obsession. Wait a minute, what? When you hook your obsession, it goes up to 4 tokens? So they actually intend you to have a decisive strike on the enemy team to take use of this perk to its maximum potential? That is absolutely stupid. So what it does is it decreases your terror radius by 4 meters while in chase for each time you've hooked your obsession. Wow. Wow. I think I could get more use of Beast of Prey. I'm slapping that down there. That is terrible. You actually have to get Decisive Struck to even get the 4th token, which means you could get up to 16 meters reduced in chase. But Ghostface already reduces his own terror radius to 0, so what does that goddamn matter in chase? Obsession changes when they get unhooked. Okay, let me see that again. You become obsessed, you lurk in the shadows, eliminate. When your obsession is hooked, Furtive Chase receives a token. When the survivor... Oh, okay, never mind. You're right. When a survivor rescues the obsession from the hook, the rescuer becomes the obsession. You lose all tokens if the obsession is... You lose all tokens if the obsession is sacrificed or killed? Sorry, that is far worse. That is far worse than what I thought it was. Oh, jeez. That is worse. I will take having to get Decisive Struck. You lose all tokens if your obsession... Oh, dude, no. Because then that protects the obsession, and that's not a valuable offset. And then also, with your obsession being changed, let's say it does change the obsession, and then you tunnel the guy that got off the hook because you don't want to kill the obsession, so you down him, and then he Decisive Strikes you, and then he becomes the obsession. No! Terrible perk. Fix it, behavior. Let's see, what would I recommend, though, to fix this one? I don't know, it's just chase and terror radius. Why not just have where your terror radius is reduced? I would love that. Why would you tunnel? Because tunneling is effective. If you could kill someone outright in the game, and they were right there in front of you, and you had a choice between the injured person who just got off the hook, or the obsession in which you have to protect, what would you take? And if you want to take the obsession, okay, fine. So you choose the obsession. You have to hit him twice, which means now you have an effectively long chase, and the person you just let go can go work on generators. It's just basic strategy and tactics. If the injured person in front of you can be killed, you kill them, regardless if it was them who was on the hook or, someone else. You target the easiest to kill unit, and it's just what you do. If you don't do that, and you are somehow winning, they are just bad. They truly... If you are giving them the opportunity to take generators on you because you're not going to hurt the injured guy, I mean, don't force the tunnel. If you're across the map and someone gets off the hook and you're chasing someone, don't go back. I mean, then you're wasting time. It's all about time. All you want to do is always target the weakest person closest to you. You want to kill someone as fast as possible, and you actually want them to make saves too. You want them to save as fast as possible. So it's actually not a good idea to tunnel when you can help it, because you want to go, okay, I've hooked this guy, I'm gonna walk away, they'll save him as fast as possible, that way we can get someone else on the hook and just rinse and repeat. That's how you get your emblems. You do more damage that way, you get more hooks that way, and then overall you get more emblems in the slots. So with that being said, if someone saves an injured person off the hook in front of you, yeah, check that borrowed time. If he doesn't have borrowed time, kick his ass and then injure the other person. And if the other person is in an area you could take him out, then go for it. But you always make sure the person who gets off the hook goes down if possible. If possible. But yeah, no, screw furtive chase. Hangman's Trick. Okay, so Hangman's Trick is so weird. It's worse than Furtive's Chase, to be honest. Hangman's Trick is a perk that returns your hooks in 10 seconds from when they're broken. But I do not believe... Oh no, it does. It repairs sacrifices as well. So it brings back hooks that were on sacrifices. I don't believe that was the original one. But essentially, it's there to just repair the hooks and traps that are destroyed by sabotage. But the sabotage meta doesn't exist. Nobody uses it. So this perk sees no use. It's probably the worst perk in the game right now. Quite possibly. Hex Devour Hope. This is a fun perk, but Hex perks are trash. I'm gonna put that right over here. Hex Devoured Hope. Though it actually does not help you gain emblems, it actually hurts you. Any instant down attack in this game hurts your potential for emblems, which is a true goddamn shame. It's still a good perk to use. I guess you'd have to be nice and let them go. But, yeah, no, it's, having the ability to insta-down by them, making a rescue, honestly, it's not worth it. This is the Anticamping perk, which is supposed to incentivize you to walk away from the hook, so that when people make a save, you get a token. But again, it's a totem, so it's easily broken. It can be done before you even get that far. But when it works, it works. Just, it's a meme perk. It's not one you're going to really see out in the field. Hex Haunted Ground. It's a one-time... You know, I'll put it a little higher than Devour Hope again. Hex Haunted Ground's similar. It's another exposed effect. It's if they break one of the two Hex Totems, it... unfortunately just gives you exposed for 60 seconds. It's good when it works again, but I don't know. It doesn't really protect Ruin. One, it gives you two random totems that are hexes. You don't know which one to defend. Doesn't tell you. They get exposed for 60 seconds. If you aren't chasing someone by the time they pop this, it likely gets wasted. But there are times that it works, you know? You're chasing someone, you just hear that go off, and then boom, got him down. But as I said with Devour Hope, instant downs are not really beneficial to your emblems because you need to make at least 28 perfect chase hits. And what that means is that within, I believe, 10 seconds of a chase or 5 seconds of a chase, you have to get a hit. Or else you need more hits than 28. So every time your chase extends beyond the instant, you need to really focus on getting more hits. So that's... I really hate looking at this tier list and seeing everything in C and D right now. Hey, Punkcast. Hex Huntress Lullaby. Again, we kind of hit the situation where I could really put all the Hex Totems almost in the same spot. Huntress Lullaby has a more powerful effect than Ruin. Problem? They know you have it without you having any stacks in it. And so what, I guess I really should be explaining what they do. It effectively, per hook, gives you a token. The token then delays the notification that you're getting a skill check. At 5 tokens, no skill checks. This can be extremely punishing, especially if you're trying to multitask. Like, I read Twitch chat, and if this suckers up, it's the worst thing ever. If you're super hyper-focused, you can probably ignore it. But to me, I can hit a great skill check more than I can hit a delayed skill check sound. So it's powerful, but the problem is it requires you to have 5 hooks, and 5 hooks are terrible. And gen tapping, I would actually bump up any Hex Totem if someone gen taps, because gen tapping is absolutely a rank 20 strategy, and you're damaging not only yourself but your team for taking so long. I think I did the math on how long it takes. It's like I did a video on it. I have to check it out. If I remember, it's either 115 or 155 seconds. I think it's 155 seconds compared to the 80 when you gen tap. Maybe 115. Instead of just working through a generator, it's not worth it. Gen tapping is a stupid strategy, and if you gen tap Huntress Lullaby, just pay attention to the screen. It just takes focus. If I focus, I can get through it, but it is a pain in the ass. Really, I don't think Huntress Lullaby should at all become a Hex Totem until you have at least the first hook, or at least it shouldn't give them notification. But I can't words well right now. Noed. Put you right there. No one escapes death. You are a beautiful perk. Don't care what people say. They say it rewards bad gameplay. That is not true. It rewards strategy of playing towards the end game. The best example I have is there's a fighting game that allows you to set your... you get to pick 3 sections of your health, and when your health reaches one of those 3 sections, you get a damage boost. You can put it at the beginning, at the middle, or at the end. And I believe the main strategy was to put it at the end, where you were almost going to die. And to say that is rewarding bad gameplay is not true. It's rewarding the strategy that someone is choosing to take a stronger effect at the end. Now, Noed is one of the most powerful Hex Totem perks, just because it's one that gives you just outright no requirements other than you need a totem in the end game. The reason I'm not going to rate it high is because it's after the game is already done. It does secure the game, it does combo well with others, but it is not a useless perk. The Hex Totems all have their uses. Devour Hope requires you to get too late into the game to matter. Same with Huntress Lullaby. Haunted Ground is kind of like Noed, but they have to break the totem. And if you don't have Ruin, there's no reason that they're going to break your totem unless they're in fear of Devour Hope. And they have to break all 5 totems to prevent Noed. Noed is also a very controversial perk in terms of it makes a drastic defense, or a drastic difference, not defense. It makes a drastic difference on people, as you can see in the forums, people trying to argue that it needs to be changed because it rewards bad gameplay. But again, to the end of that argument, it rewards the idea that someone plays to the end game. Same with Warden, same with anything that like activates after the fact. The problem with these perks is not that it rewards bad gameplay, it just does not reward you at all, I guess. Because the game's already over, you lost your gatekeeper because they finished the generators. It becomes exposed, so you don't get chaser because you insta down. Again, that's another punishment, but the emblem system is something we'll have to talk about at a later time in terms of what it is and what it does. Well, Hex Ruin, if you didn't see it coming, goes up here. And there will be people who go, oh, so overrated. Oh, I don't even run this perk at rank 1, and I'm going to call bullshit on that. You don't run this perk at rank 1, your game ends in 3 minutes. Hex Ruin is the only perk in the game that makes a difference and requires people to be on their A game. They have to be lucky to find the totem, and they have to pray that this totem is somewhere that it goes somewhere easy to find. Hex Ruin is the only perk in the game that protects Gatekeeper to the degree that it does. It is the only perk in the game that makes a difference. The problem with it is that it can be outright ignored by just pure skill. Hitting great skill checks ignores Ruin. But Ruin does prevent the bonus of great skill checks from happening while that's going on, so that's pretty important. The psychological mind game of that existing and people having to go look for it saves you time. No matter what, Ruin saves you time, if not just by a small fraction. It's it's a needed perk. You don't see people not running it, and if you don't run it, your game ends in 3 minutes. It's pretty bad. I mean, I've had that totem break on me in literally the first 10 seconds of the game because survivors loaded in before I did, and it loaded in right in front of them, so they started working on it. As my spin around finished and it zoomed in on me, it broke. And I sat there and I was like, oh. So it can be as controversial as we want. You could say you don't run it, but we all know it's needed. If we did the D-Pip squad, if you don't have Ruin even against the D-Pip squad, you're in trouble. And if you're not running Ruin, you're likely running everything else in your build, trying to help you slow down the generators as much as physically possible. And so that's probably what Phobia, Sloppy Butcher, probably Pop Goes the Weasel, and something else of that nature. And as much as people may hate Hex Ruin, I'm putting it there because it's mandatory. Hex Third Seal, this is the greatest perk in the game. It's actually the worst perk in the game. I did a video called The Greatest Perk in the Game, Hex Third Seal. I start the video by revving my chainsaw saying, Hex Third Seal is the best perk in the game, and it breaks. It's actually quite useless. It causes the blind effect, which can be good. It can be good, but it only causes the blind effect after you've basic attacked someone. So you have to basic attack someone, which tells them you have that totem, which gives them the blind effect, which doesn't really do anything other than prevent them from seeing auras, which it's not like you're going to see many auras anyways unless you have perks to do it. So if you're not running any perks, the only aura you really worry about is people being downed and people being on hooks. But if the killer hooks somebody, it gives you the bubble where they're at, so you know the general area, so that's pretty backwards. So when it comes down to it, it's not that good. And does it work for survivor bear traps on their head? I do not believe so, because Amanda can run add-ons that put blindness on you as long as you have a bear trap, and you can still see the bear trap, the jigsaw boxes. So no, it doesn't work that well. So Third Seal, yeah, it can work, but it also, the fact it's a Hex Totem, the fact it could be broken, the fact the risk versus reward, you'd get better use of so many other perks. I have gotten use of this perk, but I've probably gotten more use out of Fire Up than I have Third Seal. Hex Thrill of the Hunt. This is actually a good defense for your Hex Totems, but unfortunately all your Hex Totems are, you know, we're gonna slap him up here. He's a good little balanced boy. He can protect Ruin. He can also help you track survivors. He can give you additional blood points, even though that doesn't really matter. But it does slow the game down when they try to go for your Ruin, and it also allows you to defend the area much easier. Also gives them an extra target to have to break Ruin, and Ruin becomes the central part of Hex Thrill of the Hunt. Hex Thrill of the Hunt combos with any other Hex perk. In fact, it does very well when you have all Hex perks. Especially if you just run Thrill of the Hunt. A couple of Wraiths do this at the lower ranks where they run Thrill of the Hunt and then slap Noed on. So you don't know he has Thrill of the Hunt until you touch his Thrill of the Hunt. Or if you don't see it and then you pop all the generators, then you know he's got Noed when you down someone, but then you're like, oh my god. You find Noed and then you realize he's got Thrill of the Hunt. So not only do you have to worry about him coming to check the Hex Totem you're touching, you have to hope that's Noed, because if it's not, you're done. I'm all ears. Oh my god, is this the terrible one? When a survivor performs a rushed action 48 meters from your location, they're revealed to you for 6 seconds. Trash. If someone does a rushed action 48 meters from me, I'll get the notification bubble. I think I'd get more use out of everything else than that one. Infectious Fright. Hey, not bad. I think Infectious Fright, let's put it right under here. Infectious Fright is the anti-survive with friends perk that when you down somebody, they They make everyone else, I believe, in your terror radius scream. Yeah. So, terror radius, for majority of the major killers like Hillbilly, Nurse, them being moderately large, it'll cause them to scream, and then you'll know a second target and you can perform some slugging. So it's like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Your brain's hurt? I apologize. I didn't know that these D-rated perks were any higher. A lot of people say that, like, there was someone in the last video who said he saw a perk in a low area. He's like, I stopped watching. You guys gotta understand. You can love a perk as much as you want, but from my end and point of view, they're all not effective, and I know that Infectious Fright can be very effective, especially for Nurse, especially for Hillbilly. Getting it down, any survive with friends, it kind of cancels out any of their attempts to kind of block you out. So, let's see. Insidious. It's a worthless perk. Insidious has no use. You can't use it for anything other than camping with Leatherface. It's less use than all ears. Iron Grasp. Kinda like Agitation. You're never gonna use this perk, but it's got uses. It used to be good. It used to be required long time ago. It just increases how long you hold on to somebody. But it's eh. You're stuck on distressing? Okay. How can I help you with distressing? You know, we'll take questions after the fact. You know what? If you got any questions, we'll do a Q&A afterwards, and we'll have a Q&A, and then we can discuss it later and make any alterations to the list. I'll just continue my list the way I do it for now. Iron Maiden. This, I believe, was released to be the counter for getting into lockers to countering BBQ and Chili. So I'll slap it above there. Essentially, anybody who's trying to be sneaky, get into lockers, or use any of the locker perks is going to be revealed. But it is a hard count. It gets hard countered by Calm Spirit. But it does give them exposed, which again hurts you a bit there because you don't necessarily want to expose them. I think people are more or less going to use it for the fact that they shout and reveal their location. Knockout. Oh, man, there's just so many perks that I just don't see use. I'm thinking about slapping BBQ and Chili up a bit and moving some perks up just because I don't know how I feel about this one. When a survivor's downed, nobody can see their aura unless they're in 16 meters of them. I'm trying to think of all the times that I've used Knockout and it worked, which is never. It is hard countered by anything that reads a goddamn aura, which is Bond, Empathy, Kindred, anything. Knockout's like Third Seal. Yeah, you're right. Knockout's like Third Seal, but better than Third Seal. And gets comboed with Third Seal, so that's a thing. Lightborn. It's like, Resistance to blindness by 80% and recovery from blindness 50% increase. This is like the anti-survive with friends perk. It's like, I don't know how to rate this because it's good versus flashlights and that's it. You're right, that's it. That's all it's good for. So it's so specific. I'm gonna put it like right here. It's too specific. You're right, I do need an E tier. This shit's getting too much. Mad Grit. Oh my god, these perks, they hurt me so much. I'm actually going to put Mad Grit right here. I'm going to put it with the other transporting perks because it's kind of like Iron Grasp where, like, if there's people who are trying to body block, you're extending your grip by hitting a survivor, and your recovery from a miss is not that bad, so getting to that point, Mad Grit's just not terrible. It's just not going to find much use without Agitation, so we'll put it below Agitation. Yeah. Below Agitation. Make your choice. This is a perk I don't give credit to. I hate this perk to death. I don't like using it, but I understand its strength. So for now, I'm going to leave it in S tier, but I'm going to bump it down if anything else enters there. So when it comes down to... I'll talk to you later about it, Pone. When it comes to what this perk's used for, is it allows you to tunnel effectively. Because now you don't have a required choice of picking the injured or the savior. You can go for either or. And it's kind of interesting that it's a moderately good perk, but it can also be wasted often. Make Your Choice works on Nurse, works on Pig, works on Hag, works on almost everybody. Does hurt your pips unless you're going for multi-hits, because Expose is always going to hurt your pips, and I'm trying not to focus too much into that, but it also does allow you to get a lot more hits in and downs and slow the game down. So it does slow the game down. That's my primary concern. Because if you knock one person down, let's say you knock the savior down, and then you go chase the weakened person who just got off the hook, or you knock the person who just got off the hook and then chase the weakened person, you know, they're in fear of going down. They don't want to, but because of that, you'll end up keeping two people busy that only two others could be working on generators, and one will have to come rescue another. Mindbreaker. I've never thought I would use this perk, and I don't use this perk. It's a stupid perk. Essentially, while they're working on generators with less than a 50% repair progression, they're afflicted with Exhaustion, which only lasts for 3 seconds after they stop repairing the generator, which means they just can't sprint burst directly off the generator. But the problem is, though everybody runs an Exhaustion perk, it's not typically sprint burst. But it does make them exhausted for longer, because as long as they're affected by this Exhaustion, it does halt the meter from recovering, and I guess that helps you in chase in the long run, which is why I'm not putting it as the worst. We'll deal with it. I know C and D are looking really crowded, but that's because there's a lot of bad perks for killers. Monitor and Abuse. I'm gonna slap that right in front of Franklin's Demise. This is a really overpowered perk for some, and it's a really useless perk for others. The reason I'm not putting this one in A or S is because it's worthless on normal killers. You shouldn't ever run it on Hillbilly, Trapper, Wraith, Huntress, Nurse. It's an interesting perk because it helps stealth killers such as Hag. Well, it makes Hag a stealth killer because it drops her terror rates quite a bit. It really does help with Myers. It's a very powerful perk, but it also doesn't work for too much. Oh, here's the worst perk in the game, Monstrous Shrine. That probably helps more than Insidious. Monstrous Shrine. Monstrous Shrine is a worthless perk that disguises itself as something decent, giving you a 9% faster progression on the hook, 15% increased difficulty on escape attempts, and 9% increased penalty to attempting to escape, which means nothing. It only takes, I believe, 2 seconds, if even, off of your... I don't even think it takes 2 seconds. Yeah, it takes 2 seconds. It takes about 2 seconds off of the progression. So they're on the hook for 2 seconds less, while only in the basement. So it only affects the basement hook. And then a 15% increased difficulty on escape attempts is 15% off of 4%. It's worthless. It's so worthless. It is one of the perks you never want to pick up. If you see it in your blood web, cry. Cry massive tears because you just wasted that level because you had to pick up Monstrous Shrine. Is it 6 seconds off each phase? Yeah, let me go check. It's been like 2. Hang on, checking. Each hook stage will take, okay, so yeah, it's about 6 seconds. You're right. You're right. That's 9%? Yeah, it's about 6 seconds. Because I'm sorry, I was thinking it was more like... No, it's 6 seconds. 6 seconds each phase, so 12 seconds total. Great for... Not even great for campers. Because it's only the basement. It's only the basement, 12 seconds. Which that's not as terrible as 2. I was only 10 seconds off. 5.4 for technical. So yeah, so if it takes, let's just round it up to 12. So even if it does take 12 seconds off of progression time, because it's 6 seconds per half, not valuable. There's nothing valuable off that. 12 seconds off of 120 seconds. I mean, 12 seconds can make a difference. Well, they can't leave the hook though, because it's the basement. They don't get to, yeah, they get to leave 12 seconds early. It's the basement. And that's to say only that, you know, someone doesn't go and make the save early, you know? You could take a lot more health off of a survivor's health bar by just letting them make a quick save. Like if they go and make an immediate save, you've taken off whatever time they had left on that bar when you hook them next time. So, worthless. Overcharge. You could probably get some use out of Overcharge. It's a balanced perk. It's not the best, but if people aren't paying attention, boom! Regress a Generator. It's not a great perk. It definitely doesn't work in the higher ranks because that skill check is not terribly difficult to hit. But with the low frame rate of the skill checks, if someone's having a bad day, it might not be up to the person whether they hit it or not. Can reveal where a survivor's at. It can help you out and does combo with distressing to do unnerving and distressing together. But overall, not a perk you're ever really gonna run. You probably see Noed more than that. Yeah, Overcharge plus Lullaby, you're right. But if they know you have Overcharge, it's pretty... You know what? I'm gonna bump some of these up. We're gonna move Hunter's Lullaby out. And Hex Devour Hope. And Noed. And Tonic Ground. Alright, there. Now we're not all like cluttered down there. The Hex Totems, I'm making this change because A, there's too many perks that are terrible, and B, they all serve a purpose, they all do well, but I think Overcharge is better than them. Put there. Anywho's a doodle. Overwhelming Presence, a worthless perk. Probably a little better than those. It pretty much causes survivors to consume their items a little faster. You will never use this perk. If you do, I feel bad for you, because people will know they have it on and they won't use their items. And I guess they won't use their items, so I guess that's good, but it's only in your terror radius, so it doesn't work for every killer. It does combo well with Distressing, but Distressing by itself is not that good either. Play with your food is an interesting perk, but it has way too many weaknesses. We're gonna slap that right into B. I'm gonna speed this up. Gives you movement speed when you see your obsession, but also removes a token for every time you swing or do an offensive attack, which just makes it not worthwhile that you have to waste a lot of time building it up, because the moment that you swing and hit somebody, it goes down. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. It's trash. Screw it. Pop Goes the Weasel. This is actually one of my newer favorite perks. Pop Goes the Weasel is one of the best anti-generator perks out there that is far more consistent than Ruin, but it's not always active. You have to be near the generator, and you have to hook someone for it to even take effect, and hope that you know which generators you need to maintain. But when you know the generator that needs to be maintained, and you do hook somebody, it's like, yes, please, and thank you. Predator, decent tracking perk, I guess. Not really. You're gonna get less use out of this than most others. It just tightens the scratch marks, but scratch marks are so gross. They don't even work the way they're supposed to, so I just don't see them being effective at all. It tightening it up, okay, that's cool and all, but ugh. Rancor. Rancor is a better version of Bitter Murmur. So no matter what, it's better than Bitter Murmur. Because you get an effect of instant killing someone at the end, and you still know where everyone's at. But you do reveal yourself to the obsession, but you do get a free Mori at the end, so it's just the better version of Bitter Murmur. Remember Me. This used to be a really awesome, amazing, broken perk, where every time you hit your obsession, you increase the opening time of exit gates by a lot more than 4 seconds. You can get a maximum of an additional 16 seconds now, which is trash. Old Remember Me was so good. Old Remember Me was the perk to run, and now it's utter garbage. Just join your garbage friends down here somewhere. Yeah, right there. 16 seconds, it effectively doubles what it takes to open a door, but it used to push the doors up to like an entire minute, which was fantastic, or like 45 seconds. Let me check Remember Me's old numbers real fast. We're gonna go back. It used to give 5 seconds up to a maximum of 6 tokens, so 30 additional seconds versus the 16. That's pretty much a 50% nerf, which is absolutely horrid. And the reason they nerfed it, because it was actually good. Because it actually made killers terrifying, and because it actually made the obsession important. And they nerfed it. So, down in the ground. Save the best for last. Oh my god. This perk makes so many killers so very useful. Yeah, you're going up here, sweetheart. Save the best for last. It has a bias with me. It is my favorite perk of the entire game. This perk was also the introduction to the machine gun build way back when. You used to be able to strike so fast, and you were such a threat that even infinite loops were not enough to stop you as a killer. Then there came a period in time, I made a video on it, the history of Save the Best for Last. Go check it out, Tide Talk. Good video, good video. Nowadays, they kind of balanced it out, but it still gives you a ridiculously good bonus that could become permanent if you kill your obsession. It's a very rewarding tool, and ultimately broken on some killers. Hillbilly, Demogorgon, Pig, these are all killers that can utilize a secondary attack that does not count as their basic attack. So you can use this secondary attack to harm the obsession, which does not cost you Save the Best for Last decks, which allows you to be one of the most effective killers in the game because you're getting the most important emblem, Chaser. That is the hardest emblem to get unless survivors are potatoes and just keep taking hits from you. Again, you have to get 28 perfect hits to get an iridescent, and you're definitely going to get that with Save the Best for Last. Body blocking is not going to be a thing. You can also defend the basement very well compared to requiring a specific killer. Like Huntress defending basement stairs, it's like guaranteed you're going to kill everybody. Hell, same with Leatherface, and you'll get one kill with Hillbilly. But with Save the Best for Last, you turn every single killer into the game into something interesting. You make everybody slightly more viable. So because of that, because it works for every killer in the game and is only stronger when given to certain other killers that can utilize it even better, it's just a damn good perk, and it helps secure your emblems. And the argument to this tier list will always be, does it help you with your emblems? Yes or no? Plus, it also reduces chase time, yes. Okay, Shadowborn. Increases field of view. So I'm actually going to put that over in the back of B tier. I know a lot of people who hate the field of view of killers right now, and I don't use this. I would never use this in my life. But some people do, and it helps some people out to increase your field of view. So I'll put it in B tier to be fair and balanced. Oh, Sloppy Butcher. Your meta is still around. Oof. Where are we going to put you? I only want 6. We'll put you in A. There's not enough there. Sloppy Butcher is a fantastic perk. Used to be used way too goddamn much. But it is a very strong perk. It slows down healing when you're injured from a basic attack. Very simple. The amount it slows down by, 25%, is insane. Counters, or doesn't counter, but it absolutely damages the time it takes survivors to heal each other, especially self-care, gets in the way of that, but is countered by Botany. Botany effectively just makes your Sloppy Butcher not exist. So, yeah. Spies from the Shadows. The funny thing about Spies from the Shadows is that it can work probably a little better than Play with your food. It's a tracking perk. Great when crows fly up. Problem is they nerfed it. They nerfed it! I forgot. Used to be every time a crow goes off with a survivor within 36 meters of you. The problem is it's only within 36 meters of you, so they have to be in your terror radius and send a crow off. It has a cooldown of 5 seconds before it goes off again, which means it can be misleading because the crow doesn't reveal the aura of the survivor. It just reveals where the crow went off, which is not very accurate. So with that being said, yeah, Spies from the Shadows is really up there. Spirit Fury. Definitely another really powerful perk. We're gonna slide that around. Spirit Fury, I never use it. It's not a perk I like. I actually really hate it. But I will not deny that when Hillbilly runs at you and you stun him and the pallet breaks on his face and he has Enduring at the same time, it is one of the most terrifying things in the game because then you're dead. The reason I'm not rating it higher than what it is because it requires Enduring. If you ran Spirit Fury without Enduring, that's a laughable joke, and they still got a really good use out of your palette. But if you run Enduring, well, good luck to them. It's got its flaws, but it's a very powerful tool that helps ignore one of the defenses of a survivor and allows you to get really aggressive. So Spirit Fury is pretty good. Strider's a moderately balanced perk, decent for tracking. You could use it on any survivor and it counters Iron Will. Just makes their breathing louder and then makes their pain grunts even louder, so it really helps you follow people around. Not the best perk, not the worst. Surge. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Put it maybe a little above the totems, maybe below, maybe above. Probably better than A. No, we'll put it right there. So, Surge damages generators and causes them to regress by 8%. But it's only within a 32-meter radius of where you downed the survivor. It's very unlikely you're gonna get more than one generator done, and it only does the regression of 8% and does not combo well with other perks like Overcharge. Does not combo with Pop Goes the Weasel. If you're really going to run Surge, you fucked up because you should be running Pop Goes the Weasel. If you downed a survivor, you should absolutely be using Pop Goes the Weasel's regression on a generator and not Surge's, because if Surge damages a generator by 8% instantly and then starts regressing it, that means you can't use Pop Goes the Weasel on that generator. And if that was a 99% generator, you screwed yourself. You screwed yourself. So due to it being outclassed by the superior Pop Goes the Weasel, Surge is just a balanced perk. Surveillance. Oh my god, Surveillance. One of the worst perks in the game made a comeback and is one of the greater tracking perks, allowing you to monitor who's touching what, where, and why. It's pretty much just causes a generator to go yellow when you regress it, and I believe it does combo with Surge too. So if you don't have Pop Goes the Weasel, Surge should take effect, and then, you know, do Surge and Surveillance. If you've got a generator that's 99%, you're using Pop Goes the Weasel with Surveillance. You know if someone touches that, they're still there, you know to go there. It's very much like Discordance, but it's great for monitoring the important generators, and especially helps you hold a very, very precious 3-generator trifecta by knowing when they touch your generators. Territorial Imperative is absolute garbage. We're going to put that right above Beasts of Prey. When you're nowhere near your basement, it lets you know someone went into the basement. Absolutely stupid. One of the worst ideas they've ever had. I mean, if it allowed me to know when someone went into the basement when I was nearby the basement, sure, that would be a lot better. But being that I have to be so far away that I have to be notified of something across the map or outside of my terror radius, and I have to turn around and go all the way back to even capitalize on it, it's not likely gonna happen. Tinker. This is a perk that used to be super good. But now it's actually just decent. Now you may be freaking out and going, but my Tinker Hillbilly combo. Tinker is a perk that can do some goddamn work. Lets you know when a generator is about to be complete, takes away your terror radius for a period of time, 12 seconds, and allows you to capitalize on that. And it can work, I believe, multiple times on one generator for as long as you regress it below the 85% radius. It works amazingly, like, stupid well with Hillbilly. He can just show up out of nowhere and boom, Tinker. Got your ass. And then he can regress it with Pop Goes the Weasel, and then it's a goddamn scary perk. But the problem with it is, the reason it's not S tier is because not everybody can travel at 200% killer movement speed. So yeah, getting across the map when this shit goes off is not going to work out for you. But it does do well. It does get the job done. Thanatophobia. This is a perk that's interesting, well-balanced, and used a lot in today's meta to slow the game down because there's no other option. Is it the best perk? Does it belong in A? No. The value you actually get out of this is very low. It's 4% per injured survivor. So if only one is ever injured, it's only 4%. And then if they're all injured, it's good, 16%. With Plague and nobody cleansing themselves, that's actually amazing. It's like a permanent Michael Myers with a permanent 16%. Dying Light active at all times. And I mean, combine it with Dying Light and the numbers actually start to make sense. But the reason that this perk works is because, yeah, it is one of the few that slows the game down. But the problem is what it takes to make it happen is not always viable. You'll likely more or less see it on Nurse with Sloppy Butcher, Nurse's Calling, and Ruin. Another combo you might see is Michael Myers with Thanatophobia, Sloppy Butcher, Nurses, and Ruin, because you won't hear him coming. You'll be trying to heal, it'll slow you down, it incentivizes you not to heal, but it's that whole game of just slowing down the heals with Sloppy Butcher, but that's why Sloppy Butcher is an A. Sloppy Butcher can exist without Thanatophobia. Thanatophobia really shouldn't exist without Sloppy Butcher, or you're doing yourself a disservice. Thrilling Tremors. This is not a bad perk, but it's not a great perk. It does tell you where people are at, kind of, if they're working on a generator, but it doesn't stop them from working on the generator. I don't know, where do you guys think this one should go? I want to put it in B because I just think I need more B's in there, because this whole list is whack right now. They just let go of the gen. Is D tier? Is everyone's voting D tier? Okay, D tier it is. I'm gonna put it at the top of D tier. It combos with Pop? Why does it combo well with Pop? Wouldn't think it'd combo well with Pop. But it, no, I didn't think it would, because then you can't kick a generator that is affected by the grasp. You know which gen to go to kick it? Not if they let go of it, though. Yeah, so if it's only good on mobility killers, I would argue that then it's not very viable, because If it only works on some, it's not, that won't help it on this list. Unnerving Presence. Oof. Oof. Let's put that down there with the this one here. So a lot of people made a build on Doctor called the Impossible Skill Check, which all those skill checks are very easy and very possible if you just pay attention. I've fought that build 100 times, and there's a reason you don't see Doctor ever. The Impossible Skill Check build is not as impossible as people think. It just really bullies the casual players. It really bullies people who struggle with skill checks. It bullies the streamers who try to read chat. That's what it does. It's not impossible. It's just... annoying. Unrelenting. Well, this is a trash perk too. We'll just go ahead and slap that right above these. Increases your recovery from a missed attack. All you gotta do is stop missing. And Whispers. Ooh. Whispers is a really good tracking perk. Probably goes right below Enduring. A lot of people use Whispers because it definitely tells you in this area there is a survivor somewhere. But because it doesn't stop on survivors that are on hooks and survivors that are downed, it just allows you to know which area you're supposed to be in to make an effect. It's good. It's really good. It probably is more used than Nurse's Calling, I would like to say. So a lot of people are probably like, oh, Nurse's Calling doesn't belong in S, swap it out with Whispers. But no, in high play, Whispers really gets the job done. Helps you stop wasting time. It helps you get directed where you need to go. Makes you search an area, and you know, I don't use it anymore these days, but I think it's a pretty good perk. So this is my current tier list. It's the best that I can make out of it. There's a little bit of bias on Bamboozle and save the best for last, but this is my opinion, and honestly, I feel that Bamboozle is really good. Might be overrated to some, but if you've ever tried to deal with the shack window, or a really nasty double window setup, or even Haddonfield, or you know, anywhere with buildings, like, you'll know that Bamboozle gets the job done. Save the best for last, gets the job done. So after this, we'll go ahead and open up a Q&A and see if we make any adjustments to our tier list, but I believe this to be what I feel is the best to worst perks for getting pips, winning your game, getting some kills, and we'll talk about it. Alright, so thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, I've got many more. I don't just do Dead by Daylight, but I do a whole lot of things, but we do that is Dead by Daylight. There was a Demogorgon video I set out there that if it got 10,000 views, I'd do a killer tier list. It hasn't hit it, so I don't think I'm doing the killer tier list. But we'll see. There might be another incentive down the line for us to do more tier lists for Dead by Daylight. If you want to suggest more tier lists down below, let me know in the comments section and or Twitch. And then also, you can make your own tier list by going to the tier maker link in the description, and you can use this template which has the perks on there. You just click and drag them where you want them. You could share them down below too. No issue with that. And with that being said, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, yeah.